Raider Nation, buckle up because this week might just define the entire season. The Las Vegas Raiders are staring down a moment that feels bigger than just another game on the schedule. You can call it a turning point, you can call it a gut check, but one thing is for sure. If this team doesn't find a way to win, the road ahead gets brutally tough. Right now, the math doesn't lie. When a team drops to 1 win and 4 losses, the chances of making the playoffs dip all the way down to about 5%. That's basically a death sentence for a season that was supposed to carry so much promise. But on the flip side, grab a win here, and suddenly those odds jump up near 30%. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it keeps hope alive, and that's what the players, the coaches, and most importantly the fans need more than anything. The pressure isn't just on the team as a whole, it's squarely on the shoulders of the quarterback. Geno Smith has to be better. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no protecting feelings, and there's no more waiting around for him to settle in. This is the National Football League, and mistakes get punished fast. Right now, Geno is leading the entire league in interceptions with 7 through just 4 games. 7. That's unacceptable, and the only way the Raiders are going to compete with the Colts is if he cleans it up immediately. The truth is, his first few outings in silver and black have actually been worse than the opening stretches we saw from guys like Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo in their first years. That's saying a lot, and not in a good way. But let's not write him off completely just yet. The Colts defense is giving up just over 220 passing yards per game, which places them down in the bottom third of the league. That means there's an opportunity here if the Raiders play it smart. Geno has to get the ball out quicker. The offense has to simplify his reads, and the coaching staff has to put him in a position to succeed. With left tackle Colton Miller sidelined, that pocket isn't going to be clean for very long. Geno needs to recognize it, adjust, and trust his playmakers. This game will be a massive test for him, because if he can't take advantage of a defense that's already struggling against the pass, then what defense is he going to take advantage of? And speaking of playmakers, the running backs are the heartbeat of this offense right now. Last week against Chicago, Ashton Gentry put on a show with over 150 yards from scrimmage and 3 total touchdowns. That's the type of performance the Raiders need again if they're going to have any shot at pulling this one out. Raheem Mostert chipped in with some explosive runs of his own, including one that went for over 15 yards a pop, but it wasn't enough to tilt the game completely. This week, with the offensive line banged up and the passing attack limited, the ground game isn't just important, it's essential. The Colts have done a solid job slowing down opposing rushing attacks so far this season, holding teams under 100 yards on average. That's not an easy wall to break through, but it has to happen. This is where guys like Jordan Meredith and JPJ have to step up. The offensive line has been under the microscope all season long, and while last week showed flashes of improvement, it has to be more than a flash. It has to be a statement. Without Colton Miller holding down the left side, it's about grit, execution, and being physical in the trenches. But here's where the real problem starts. Outside of Jakobi Meyers and Trey Tucker, the wide receiver room hasn't been producing enough. Someone has to rise to the occasion. Dante Thornton and Jack Besh are 2 names to watch, especially since they're expected to get more opportunities this week. The Colts secondary has already surrendered nearly 60 catches to opposing receivers along with 6 touchdowns. That's bottom-tier production for a defense, and if the Raiders can't exploit that, it's going to be a long afternoon. Brock Bowers, who is expected to be a dynamic weapon in this offense, is still not 100% healthy, and Michael Mayer is working his way through concussion protocol. That means the rookies, guys like Besh and Thornton, can't just be on the field, they have to make plays. Defenses have started to double Jakobi Meyers. They're keying in on Trey Tucker, and they're daring somebody else to beat them. So far, nobody has answered the call. This week, that has to change. The tight end room could also play a critical role in solving the offensive puzzle. Last week, we saw the Raiders utilize more 2 tight end sets, and even some 12 personnel that helped both the run game and the protection schemes. With inexperienced tackles trying to hold their ground against the Colts pass rush, leaning on guys like Ian Thomas and Mayer to chip and block could be a difference maker. Don't be surprised if Brock Bowers gets shifted out wide to act as a receiver while the tight ends line up to support the line. It's about being creative, physical, and willing to adapt on the fly. The bottom line is simple. This offense cannot afford to be one-dimensional. If the Raiders come out and fail to establish the ground game, it will allow the Colts to sit back, tee off on Geno Smith, and force turnovers. That's been the pattern so far, and it has to be broken. The only way that happens is with balance, with rhythm, and with players stepping up that haven't shown their full potential yet. And while everyone is watching Geno, and rightly so, let's not forget about the offensive line as a whole. Last week against the Bears, this unit allowed only 3 total pressures, which was a massive improvement from the 50-plus they gave up in the first 3 games combined. That type of performance can't be an outlier. It has to become the new standard. Stone Forsythe is expected to step in at left tackle, and the Colts' defensive front is coming in with 10 sacks already this year. That's not elite, but it's more than enough to cause problems if protection slips back into bad habits. The Raiders need physicality. They need to run behind guys like JPJ and Dylan Parham, who actually showed a much better version of himself last week compared to the sluggish start he had earlier in the year. When Parham is firing off the line and playing with confidence, this offensive line looks entirely different. That's the guy they need this Sunday. If they don't get him, it could get ugly fast. Everything comes down to identity. Are the Raiders going to be the team that rolls over when adversity hits, or are they going to fight back and prove they still belong in the playoff conversation? The answer begins with execution on offense, toughness in the trenches, and the quarterback finally playing the way he's supposed to. Raider Nation is watching, and Raider Nation is tired of excuses. It's time to see results. If the offense is searching for identity, the defense is the unit that has to hold this team together. Through 4 games, they've actually been the steadier side of the ball, showing flashes of dominance and keeping the Raiders alive in moments when the offense couldn't get anything going. But now, with the offense still a work in progress and the quarterback struggling, the defense has to rise to an even higher level. If they don't, the gap between what the Raiders need to be and what they actually are will only grow wider. Let's start with the secondary because that's where the Colts are most likely to test this group. Eric Stokes is banged up, dealing with a knee issue, and Kai Blue Kelly has simply not been good enough. Over the last 2 weeks, his play has been exposed time and again, and opposing quarterbacks are targeting him without hesitation. That's a scary thought going into a matchup against an Indianapolis offense that loves spreading the field with multiple wideouts. Michael Pittman Jr. is the clear number 1 target for them, their security blanket, their Jacoby Myers, the guy they lean on in big moments. But the Colts don't stop there. They've got Josh Downs, they've got Alec Pierce, and they're even giving rookie Adonai Mitchell opportunities. None of these guys are elite by themselves, but together they create stress because they can rotate, they can move around, and they can attack mismatches. The problem for the Raiders is depth. They're running fewer sub-packages in the secondary than just about anyone else in the league, and that's not because the coaching staff doesn't believe in variety. It's because they don't trust the corners to execute. That's a glaring issue. When your defense is afraid to put extra defensive backs on the field, it limits flexibility, it limits disguise, and it limits your ability to adjust to spread offenses like the Colts. The truth is, the Raiders need more talent at corner, and if they can't find it soon, this secondary is going to remain a liability. Now, the safety group is just as important. Jeremy Chin has to step into a starring role this week. Against Jonathan Taylor, one of the most physical backs in football, you need a safety who isn't afraid to crash down, fill the lane, and make solid tackles. Chin can do that, but he also has to hold up in coverage, especially when matched against tight end Tyler Warren, who has quickly become one of Indianapolis' most reliable weapons. Warren is big, strong, and physical, and he's been punishing linebackers and safeties every chance he gets. If Chin doesn't bring his A game, Warren could be the X factor that swings this entire matchup. Isaiah Polamau is another question mark. When used at strong safety, he flashes the potential to be a solid young player. But right now, he's being forced into a free safety role, and he's flat out struggling. Out of 79 qualifying safeties, he ranks dead last in coverage. That's not a small issue. That's a glaring weakness, and opponents know it. If he stays back deep, the Colts are going to take shots, And with their ground game forcing safeties to creep up, play action could open the door for deep passes that turn into game-changing plays. This is where communication and discipline become crucial. And we can't talk about the Colts without talking about their rushing attack. Jonathan Taylor is leading the league in yards, and he's doing it with a blend of power, vision, and explosiveness that few backs can match. He's already carrying the ball 20-plus times a game, and you can bet that's not changing this week. For the Raiders, the defensive tackles and linebackers have to be disciplined. They have to wrap up. They have to fight through blocks. Last week, the interior of the defensive line had one of its worst performances, missing tackles and failing to disrupt. Adam Butler, Matthew Butler, John Jenkins, none of them did enough. That simply cannot happen against Taylor, because once he gets rolling downhill, it's over. The linebackers will be stressed too. The Colts love forcing linebackers into conflict. Are you going to step up to stop Taylor, or are you going to drop back into coverage and defend the tight end? That's the chess match. And right now, guys like Devin White and Elandon Roberts haven't exactly proven to be strong in coverage. That's where Tyler Warren has been feasting, and if the Raiders don't figure it out, he could continue that trend. Jermaine Pratt has to deliver a top-tier performance, and quite frankly, it might even take creative usage of someone like Jamal Adams, putting him closer to the line and letting him use his speed and physicality to disrupt both the run and the pass. Then there's Daniel Jones, who is quietly becoming a bigger problem than people give him credit for. He's already scored 3 rushing touchdowns this season and picked up 8 first downs with his legs. That's how the Colts extend drives. You shut down the run on first and second down, you get them in at third and medium, and then Jones scrambles for 6 yards to keep the chains moving. It's a backbreaker, and the Raiders can't allow it. Someone has to be assigned to keep him contained, whether that's a linebacker or a spy from the secondary. Now, if you're looking for positives, the Raiders do have an ace in the hole, and his name is Max Crosby. He's been playing at a level few edge rushers in the league can match. Last week alone, he put up 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, multiple passes defended, and even an interception. He is relentless, and his energy sets the tone for the entire defense. When Crosby is flying around, the Raiders look alive. But he can't do it all by himself. Malcolm Kuntz had one of his better games recently, but we still don't know if that was true growth or just taking advantage of a weak Bears offensive line. Either way, the Raiders need more production from the other side, because Crosby can only draw so much attention before it starts wearing him down. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers after the shocking news that Chris Jones, one of the league's most dominant defensive linemen, has reportedly inked a monumental deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. While official confirmations are scarce, sources close to the team suggest that the signing could reshape the Raiders' defensive front and send ripples through the AFC West. Jones, known for his explosive pass-rushing ability and relentless interior pressure, has long been linked to a handful of powerhouse teams, but it seems Las Vegas might have outmaneuvered everyone. Rumors circulating around the league hint at a contract worth staggering figures, potentially making Jones one of the highest-paid defensive tackles in recent memory. Whether it's a short-term, high-value deal or a long-term commitment, insiders say the Raiders are pulling out all the stops to make him the centerpiece of their defense. Fans and analysts alike are already speculating about how Jones' presence could change the Raiders' defensive identity. With his combination of size, speed, and sheer disruptive talent, many believe that opposing quarterbacks may soon find themselves under unprecedented pressure in Sin City. There's even chatter that his signing could inspire other top-tier free agents to consider the Raiders, elevating the team's profile in a way few imagined just months ago. Of course, with any big signing comes the inevitable questions. Can the Raiders build a supporting cast around Jones to maximize his impact? Will the team's scheme shift to capitalize on his strengths? And perhaps most importantly, how will the rest of the AFC West respond to what could be a seismic shakeup of the division hierarchy? Sources hint that the locker room is buzzing with excitement, but only time will tell if the gamble pays off on game day. For now, The league waits with bated breath. Chris Jones to the Raiders may still be officially unconfirmed, but the murmurs are loud enough to send shockwaves through every NFL fan's imagination. If the rumors prove true, the Raiders have just made a statement. Las Vegas is serious about contention, and Chris Jones is at the heart of that ambition. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.